This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White. I'm editor-in-chief at the Charlotte Post. This is Cameron Williams, staff reporter at the Post. It's Thursday, February 26, 2026, and it's a doubleheader for Sports Charlotte today. And we're talking basketball in this episode. The Charlotte Hornets is where we should start because the Hornets are whole again after 4 games without Moussa Diabate and Miles Bridges, and it looks like they really didn't miss a step despite being on the shelf for 4 games, and the Hornets obviously appreciate their presence.
Yeah, I mean, Bridges and Diabate both had 7 rebounds against Chicago the other night. Miller led the team with 23, and quite frankly, the starting 5 didn't have to play much of the fourth quarter, or if any, because what was a close game, and the Bulls even led by, I think, 10 or 11 at one point. No, something like that. The Hornets just absolutely cooked in that third quarter.
Yeah, they were
defensively and offensively,
and all that other stuff.
I mean, just absolutely cooked. 131-99 result. 2 days prior, beat Washington. They were still shorthanded against Washington, but it's Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll say this. What impressed me the most about this team in this little stretch since the All-Star break, Houston and Cleveland, 2 solid teams, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Shorthanded, they competed their tails off to the very end of both of those games. And I thought really even had a chance in both of those games at one point to get over the hump and take the lead. They fell short, lost one game by 5, the other by 4. But it was promising to me because when let's just be honest, the Hornets of old had rolled over and died.
Twice.
And I mean, it would have been ugly twice. But you're without 2 key players, and you're able to, kind of hold your own against 2 teams like that. And in that Houston game, I mean, Durant was just feasting.
Yeah.
I mean, a 35-point game, and just didn't seem like he could miss. I think he was 14 or 15 of 20. So I just like to see the progress, and I think there can even be glimmers of progress made in losses. And I know a lot of times people get so results-oriented and results-driven, but to only lose those games by small margins and have chances in the fourth quarter to win shorthanded, I think that says a lot about what this team can do moving forward. And they got a great chance tonight with a team they've yet to beat. But I think tonight will be different in the Indiana Pacers.
Mm-hmm. In the Houston game, you talked about Kevin Durant and 35 points. The Rockets needed every last point in order to win that game.
Yeah.
And same with Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell was Donovan Mitchell, and they needed everything that he could give in order for them to win that game. And so to me, that is where the progress is. When you run into teams that are going to be in the playoffs, none of this play-in business for the Rockets or Cavaliers. And when teams like that have to dig deep to beat you, you know you're in a good spot. Now, just like we talked about previously, I think the key for the Hornets is going to be what happens when there are actual expectations. Mm-hmm. Because NBA teams are seeing what's going on in Charlotte, and I'm sure they're thinking, well, you know what? Maybe these dudes are for real. So we're going to have to really hoop in order to beat them.
If I had to rank the NBA right now, as far as what teams do, at full strength, I would have the Hornets no lower than 5th in the entire league.
Whoa, that's pretty strong considering who else is out there.
Because I don't see them losing that Houston or Cleveland game if they're at full strength. I don't. I think there'll still be close games, but I think the Hornets would be on the winning side of a 5-point margin instead of the losing side.
At home.
Yeah, I mean, both those games were at home, but you have to consider the value that Bridges brings to the table, rebounding, scoring when need be. I know we discussed, his lack of scoring sometimes, but when you've got guys like Knipple who filled it with 33, and then LaMelo Ball hits 10 threes against Washington, you've got plenty of scoring options, but the value that Diabate has on the defensive end, getting offensive rebounds, and then just being able to alter shots. And I think Ryan Kalkbrenner stepped in and did a good job in Moussa's absence. But having them two together, as with Ryan being able to back him up, I just think this team, I would not have them lower than 5th when teams are fully healthy. Just the way they're trending and the way they've played really since mid-January.
Yeah.
They've got 4 or 5 losses since mid-January.
And that's an indication of a team that is playing together, that have finally bought in to what Coach Charles Lee has been preaching. And I think the biggest convert is LaMelo Ball. Because, LaMelo is well known for kind of being, he's LaMelo Ball. And he's kind of, I guess the persona or the body language kind of betrays, is he actually paying attention? Or does he even care? He cares because it is reflected in what he does on the floor now. He's engaged. He is distributing. And that shot is not traditional, but it's going in. And that's the goal of basketball. And so he's playing total ball. Now, maybe not total ball in terms of his defense. And, that's still something to work on.
Yeah.
But offensively, he is doing much better.
Back to my point about their place in the league really over the last 2 months. First is Detroit. Second is Oklahoma City. Third, San Antonio. Fourth is Boston. And fifth is Houston. They beat Oklahoma City and San Antonio. We'll play Boston pretty soon.
Yeah, they haven't played them yet.
They'll play them pretty soon. Played a close game, shorthanded against the Rockets. KD had to have a prime KD-esque performance to win that game. And then Detroit was a nail-biter, and quite frankly,
fisticuffs aside.
And I don't know how that could have impacted the outcome of that game, because Stewart, he was on the bench most of the time. Yeah, he comes in and gives some reserve minutes, but losing 2 starters versus 1 starter, that could have affected the outcome of the game. And then you don't have your coach for the final little bit of that game either, because
he got the heave-ho.
He was hot. But I mean, where would you rank? Because the teams below the top 5 right now, the New York Knicks, when they're healthy, they're pretty good. The Denver Nuggets, Cleveland Cavaliers, we saw the Cavs game, how close that was, shorthanded. The Timberwolves, very up and down. The Lakers, Toronto, that was before the Hornets really started finding their rhythm, and they lost that game by a point on a buzzer beater.
Yeah, Golden State.
So, Phoenix, Golden State's toppled a lot lately because without Curry, but Phoenix, Philly, Orlando, Golden State, Miami. I'm just saying, 5th or 6th.
I would
say, they're playing.
I would say Denver deserves some space in that upper tier as well. But
yeah, because they did play a little stretch without Jokic and kind of treaded water, but.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Hornets are any worse than 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
And just to put the Hornets anywhere in the top 10 in terms of productivity is a plus these days. So I'm not necessarily going to say they're top 5, but they are a long way from bottom 5.
No, that's true. Out of these next 3, what's going to be their record? So they got the Pacers tonight in Indiana, but then they've got Portland and Dallas at home. And Dallas, another sidebar. How annoying is it that when teams come to Charlotte, and yes, the majority, at least now, the majority of fans are there to see the Hornets instead of, I went to a New York Knicks game last year, man.
Oh, that's like a bunch of New Yorkers.
It was like 50-50.
Well, yeah, a lot of New Yorkers here.
But the point I was trying to make is, like, all the superstars that come to town, half of them don't play. We didn't see LeBron this year, did last year, but I digress. It's like the superstars, they get hurt conveniently before they come to the QC. Cooper Flag may or may not play by March the 3rd. who knows what that's going to look like. But out of Indiana, Portland, and Dallas is pretty much going full tank mode, so I doubt Cooper does play. Do they win all three of them?
Yep.
Then they go to Boston.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Miami at home.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking they're going to go on a little fun. So it'd be a 7-game win streak. Woo! They would be well over 500 at that point.
Yeah, I think they can certainly beat Boston. Now, don't get me wrong. The Celtics are having an exceptionally good year considering where everybody figured they're going to take a step back.
Well, they did just get absolutely pimp slapped last night by the Nuggets.
And that was in Denver, so it may have been an altitude thing or something. But I think that Charles Lee knows enough about how the Celtics think, their personnel, and how to match that up. Plus, I don't think the Hornets are through sending a message. And what better venue to send it than TD Garden?
Fair enough. I mean, I definitely see them winning these next 3 if everything goes to plan, but the Pacers just have a weird way of giving the Hornets trouble.
They own that. And it's just strange. It's like, these dudes can't bust a grape, but they beat the Hornets.
Twice.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be 3 times, but knock on wood, I think the spread's 13.5. I'm going to say the Pacers cover, but the Hornets win by like 8.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes.
But we've got one more basketball feature for you. The Golden Bulls are in the CIAA tournament, and they won yesterday.
Imagine that.
1 point. So isn't that funny? Charlotte 49ers win by 1 point, and the Golden Bulls win by 1 point on the same day.
Yeah, they beat Elizabeth City State. It was a nail biter, 61-60. Not a whole bunch of offense. And as a reward, Smith gets to play Virginia Union, which has the best record in the conference, and I think is going to be a lock to make it to the D2 playoffs.
Oh, you mean the Golden Bulls only lost to them 75-73 the second time?
Yeah.
How about that first time? 88-36. Was there anybody out for Smith that game?
No, they just got dog walked, pimp slapped, and run over. And that.
Do you think it's going to be the same song and dance tonight at 8:00?
No, it won't be a 52-point spread.
How bad do you think Union's going to win? Because I know you're not going to pick Smith.
Nah, Union is too good and too disciplined, and the coaching is stellar. And how is it? Just to be thinking about it, Virginia Union is good at everything in the CIAA.
Not as good as Smith in football.
Well, they did split last season.
But who won the game that mattered?
I understand that. But the point is, they got to the title round. Virginia Union wins at the so-called revenue sports, football and basketball. And I don't think that basketball will let them down this year either. I would say at least 8. I don't think Smith has evolved to that point where they can get on the grandest stage in Division II basketball, because the CIAA, even though it may have fallen off as a basketball conference in terms of the talent level, top to bottom, its tournament is the envy of Division II. And so that's a huge stage, and I'm not sure that the Golden Bulls have developed into as a program to be able to jump out on that stage and take down a team that is as tough as Virginia Union.
I think it's going to come down to if whoever dictates the pace of play, for one, but if guards Trey Pettigrew and forwards Jamori Bryant, if they're able to continue their high level of play, both of them averaging over 17 a game, and play some defense. The Golden Bulls have had some teams score a lot of points against them this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you just look at their defensive stats. A decent amount of steals. They're also turning the ball over like crazy.
Yeah.
And they're not blocking a lot of shots. I mean, they've got 71 on the year. Their opponents on them have had 103. So they're not generating a lot on the defense. They're not turning defense into offense. They're relying too much on the half-court offense, and I think sometimes you got to get out in transition, and you got to be able to score in transition. But I mean, those top three players, adding in Jared Davis, who is the lead or team leader in blocks, they're just going to have to elevate their game. And if you can take whatever lessons you learned from that narrow loss in Brayboy not too long ago, an upset is plausible, not probable, plausible.
Well, it's plausible, but that also means getting Virginia Union out of its rhythm and what it does best. And the Panthers are grinder. It's a slower tempo, hammer the ball inside, do the damage in the lane, and leave you so beat up you just don't have the strength to try to keep up when it's late.
What do you think about the job security right now of Antoine Banks?
Oh, he's good to go for a while longer, I think. Historically, Smith hasn't been the kind of place to give a coach the heave-ho before a contract is over and then hire somebody else. It's like, wait a second, you're talking about we're on the margins when it comes to athletic budgets and things like that. So, no, there's no way. Well, let me back up. Maybe I shouldn't say there's no way. I don't see where they would see an opportunity to say, well, you know what? Maybe we need this upgrade and we should give this coach a buyout or the heave-ho and still be on the hook for paying him as well as the new person. Nah, that's not going to happen. They'll just let that contract play out if it comes to that. But my hope is that he will get them moving forward sooner rather than later. And I think last year we got a false sense of security from Smith because they were able to produce a winning record in his first season. And people may have walked away, I know I did, thinking, well, if he could do that in his first year,
maybe we got something here.
Yeah, now that he's got that security of being the full-time head coach, he'll go out and he'll get his players, and it just hasn't happened in this second year. So I would imagine there's still going to be some experimenting going on in terms of what works, where the upgrades need to come in, and take your chances there because everybody is on a year-to-year in terms of roster building anyway. So no doubt in my mind that roster is going to look totally different next season anyway. And maybe that is the season where if you've got some people who are still around, maybe those new folks will be able to blend in a little bit more seamlessly and start to take the JCSU program into a place where they have been more accustomed to being in the past as opposed to hovering around 500.
The JCSU aficionado, ladies and gentlemen. But while we still have you, go to thecharlottepost.com. Look up in the top right corner. You will see subscribe, donate, and our events calendar. If you want to check that out, find out when all of our events are. But we're really aiming towards the right side of the screen where you can see subscribe and donate. Subscribe first and foremost. Get the post in your hands every week, either physical copy or on your tablet, laptop in our e-edition. We would much appreciate that, and donate to the cause because while the journalism to consume on our website is free to you, it is not free to produce, and we got to pay our bills and eat our food and do all that stuff too. So do that. Subscribe to our sports newsletter. It comes out every Thursday, curated by that guy. You'll see my reporting, his reporting, as well as several of our stringers. And lastly, what else is on this pitch? That's the podcast. Yeah, the podcast. What we're doing.
Yeah, on YouTube.
On YouTube, make sure to click that bell. Subscribe to us there to watch us every week, sometimes more than once a week, but also wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Queen City Podcast Network, Apple Podcast, or SoundCloud. I hadn't used SoundCloud in forever, but I digress. But from everyone here at the office in wet but still beautiful Derrida, that's Herb. I'm Cam. Thanks for watching and listening.